Holy shit, okay, you actually clicked the video. Hey, we're back in business, guys. Someone actually stuck around for this long just to listen to us rant about something we built in Minecraft. Yeah, so, we're back in Minecraft yet again, and for starters, how you doing? I'm doing fine. I'm doing better than ever. Well, not than ever, but I don't know how you're doing because I can't physically see you or hear what you're saying, but hey, you can type down in the comments if you're having a good day or not. Hope you are. I am anyways. So, I mean, yeah, something a little different for an intro. Just kind of had like a little bit of a cinematic intro of what I'm getting ready to reveal to you, which you would probably already assume is this train. And this train in particular, which will probably be named in the title of this video now that I think about it, so no need to do the whole like pop quiz thing, but yeah. This is the Snowpiercer. And for any of you who might be unaware as to what this train is from, little note to self, it's, okay, actually, no, this is where the survey comes in, because you know the train is going to be called Snowpiercer, and the train is Snowpiercer, but where is this train from exactly? A few of you might be all like, okay, I know this movie, just get with it. But hey, you know, we gotta give somebody else something to do, you know? So yeah, the train's called Snowpiercer, and it's from a movie. And the setting of the Minecraft world that I'm in is exactly the kind of setting that this train goes through. Another hint, it came out in the year 2013. Another hint, it stars Chris Evans, or in other words, Captain America. A few of you might be like, oh, I know this movie, but I can't think of it. Some of you might be like, what the hell are you talking about? Yeah, the rest of you might be all like, okay, we know, can you just not do this right now? I'm sorry, but, you know, I'm kind of as bored as most other people. So, without further ado, the movie it's from is called Snowpiercer. Hence the name of the train, and the name of the movie, and the name of the events. So yeah, this train is Snowpiercer. I've said that probably more than enough times. And the movie in particular, that this movie is... Wow, I cannot English well. I can't word good today, for some reason. Saving it for a rainy day, I guess, because got some gloomy weather outside. So yeah, this is my attempted model at building the train from the film Snowpiercer. And, spoiler alert, I'm gonna kind of give a little bit of background information on the movie. If you haven't seen it yet, I would highly recommend you go see it, and if you don't want me to spoil it, then you might want to go watch it and then come back and watch the rest of this video. So anyway, so the movie Snowpiercer, as I said, came out in the year 2013. Starring Chris Evans and a couple of other, you know, big names in the filming industry. And the plot of the movie is that in the year 2014, environmentalists and scientists of nature developed this artificial coolant called CW7. And as you would imagine, I think that the CW stands for cool weather. But anyway, so before the events of the film, you know, in the prequel, they dispersed CW7 into the atmosphere using a bunch of planes and stuff to kind of counter the effects of global warming. And for the first couple of minutes or hours, it worked. You know, global temperatures were starting to drop to a, you know, bearable 70, 80 degrees in the summer, and all that good stuff. And then next thing you know, the temperatures dropped like a rock. I'm not even saying that metaphorically speaking. It went to the negatives in a matter of hours. So yeah, the CW7 immediately backfired on humanity, and the world began to plummet into a new man-made ice age. Only the temperatures outside were so damn cold that if you were caught out in the weather for more than 30 seconds, you would freeze to death. Not even that, you would freeze in place. Because in the film Snowpiercer, it does kind of emphasize just how cold it is exactly outside. So cold that life outside the train, Snowpiercer, is believed to be extinct. So, the outside world, you know, to their knowledge, no longer exists. The train is the world. And where the train comes into place... I got something stuck in my throat. So yeah, so where the train comes into place in the movie is that... Some transportation tycoon, you know, this guy named Wilford, built this train. As far as the timeline goes, he built the train before the events of the movie, before the world froze, in other words, because his train was supposed to act like a cruise liner on rails, hence why it looks the way it does on the interior, you know, later in the film. So the train, you know, became the last remaining refuge for the survivors of humanity to live on. Because I guess apparently underground bunkers, you know, staying in a warm place or stuff like that just wouldn't work. So the Snowpiercer train, you know, it says in a prequel that the train is later known as the Rattling Ark, you know, for it containing the last remnants of humanity. And, you know, with the setting of the movie aside, the most interesting thing about the movie, or at least in my opinion, is the train itself. Hence, as to why I decided to try and build it in Minecraft. Now, what makes the train so interesting in the movie is that they say that it's, the engine that drives the train is a perpetual motion engine. And if you haven't ever heard of that before, you might want to Google it after this video, because perpetual motion, or perpetual energy, in other words, is supposedly considered to be an indefinite source of energy. So with the engine, or the locomotive of this train, you know, having a perpetual motion machine inside of it, it would theoretically mean that it could travel indefinitely. But the thing is, you know, little spoiler, you know, perpetual energy is said to be physically impossible due to the Newton's 3 laws. So, it's still something interesting to look into, but anyway, you know, in the sci-fi film Snowpiercer, the train has been outfitted with a perpetual motion engine, and the timeline in the movie indicates that it's been traveling for 18 years straight, without stopping. That's also another little key thing about the movie, is that the train never stops. It never slows down or anything, and there is no way off the train except for up front. And the train runs on a self-sustaining circumnavigational track that goes around the globe. Well, not so much around the globe, but it goes across the world's 7 greatest continents. And the track, yeah, there's a single track that the train travels on, and the train makes one loop around this circumnavigational track once every year. So that's kind of some of the more interesting things about the train, in that it also, you know, has like a water purification system, it has like a closed ecosystem, an aquarium, you know, cattle. So in other words, like, it is kind of like the Ark, but more or less meant for people. So, kind of with all that set aside, now we actually get to take an in-depth look at this interpretation of the Snowpiercer. Now, immediately I would say that the most interesting thing, you know, about the train's model, you know, as a whole, is the locomotive itself. Because, you know what, I'm actually going to get rid of the snow, just so you can at least get a clear look at this train. So the locomotive itself has no windows, and with it being fitted with a perpetual motion engine, you know, it's supposedly a modern sci-fi design of a train, considering that it was conceived before the year 2014 in the movie's timeline. But how I figured out what the overall shape of the locomotive looks like, since you're never really given a clear up-close look of the train in the movie, you know, directly, if you can go to Google Images and type in Snowpiercer train, and there's actually some concept art that's been released about what the train was going to look like, or what it does look like. And I tried to replicate the model of the engine as best I could, using primarily quartz slabs, stairs, and blocks, you know, just to at least keep the train white, you know, considering it's been weathered and it's traveling through snow for 18 years. But I don't know, it has like 2 sets of like drive wheels. You got 4 up front and 4 in the rear, and this whole piece here is the locomotive itself. So it doesn't split anywhere in there. This is all one piece. And like I said before, I don't have any windows, so there's like no conductor, no engineer, no nothing. It's just like the train goes, and that's it. Because, you know, supposedly there's nothing else on the track, and there's going to be no other deserted train wrecks or anything. But there, probably the more interesting and more notable thing about this engine is the fact that it has these weird little fins coming off the side of it. And you can clearly see these, you know, in the very few glimpses you get of the engine, you know, in the movie. And in the concept art, it almost kind of makes it appear like that there would be like little cameras and little sensors, you know, stuck up inside these little fins. But yeah, I noticed these in the movie, and I don't know, they're like very distinctive. It like makes the train highly unique. And of course, you know, I mean, as far as scale goes, there's I don't know, we're never really given a proper idea as to how big the engine is. I just kind of... Wow, that was kind of spooky. Anybody hear that little noise? That weird little steam whistle noise? I don't know, just one of those random noises that happen in Minecraft. But man, that was actually kind of perfect. Almost ironic in a way. But talking about trains, and then it sounds like a whistle. But continuing on, so back to the little fins is... Oh wait, no, I was actually talking about the scale of the train. I mean, so I just kind of made my own little base. I mean, normally if you like go on Minecraft forums and stuff like that, you'll notice that most people make their railroads 3 wide. So rather than having 3 spaces in between the tracks, the tracks would actually be 1 block apart. But I had to kind of widen it for the sake of making the train bigger because the size of the interior is pretty damn big as far as what it shows in the movie. I mean, hell, it's supposed to be a cruise liner on wheels, in a way of speaking. And, crap, I just phased out again. I do this way too often. But I honestly feel like I might need to make a second model of the train, because this is my first and so far only attempt at building the train. So, you know, in the movie, it's supposedly, you know, said to have 1,001 cars long, but, you know, I did not make it that long for the sake of, you know, time and, you know, building it and, you know, getting to showcase it a little bit. But I did get some of the cars done, because the ones towards the rear are not done. I just put them there as for the sake of placeholders. So, I mean, without, you know, I guess, rather than just staring at the outside of the train, I do have a little bit of the interior done. Now, let me in. So, I mean, I guess right here is like the only entry point inside the train as of now. And, you know, the little rear compartment of the engine, because we're in the very, very, very end of the locomotive, in a way of speaking. So this little area is not, you know, movie accurate. But if you go inside here, you know, if you've seen the movie, then you'll immediately recognize this as being the engine room. This is kind of like, you know, the ending climax of the film. I'm not going to go too much into detail as to what happens, but this weird little compartment up here, this is the perpetual motion engine. You know, the eternal engine, as it is called in the movie. And, of course, there's like this weird little light in the center, and, you know, the rest of the locomotive's hiding back there. You know, it's just empty space, but... You know, I mean, this is just kind of like a rough template of the train, so, I mean, it's not going to be 100% perfect or accurate for that matter, because, I mean, hell, it's Minecraft. So, this is like the... Okay, so yeah, this is the engine, and I got it just about as good as I could get it, you know, with the scale that I had to play with. And then moving on back here, I think I might have gotten some of the car placements reversed, because I think right behind the engine, there's like this weird party room. And then it seems like before the party room, there's this car that looks like it's full of computers and, you know, electronics and I guess like sensors that keep track of the train systems and making sure everything's running accordingly, or you know running how it should be. But I think I did this intentionally, because I decided to put this car behind the engine, because it would, I guess to me it makes a little more sense, because this car, like the inside of this one, didn't have like any passengers. It looked like it was all a bunch of servicemen, you know, technicians and computer geniuses, you know, watching and monitoring systems all over the train. So to me, it just makes more sense for it to be behind the locomotive, so I guess I did do that on purpose. So yeah, it's just like, as far as the interior of this car goes, it's all just like repetitive, you know, computer stuff, you know, very dark, and there wasn't very much light. And then you come to like the first car, which is, you know, this party room, which had all the like ravers and stuff in the movies. Like you'd have like little bar areas like down in the floors on both sides, and then it kind of like had this weird S curving, you know, walkway. And then there was like a little bar. I mean, all this is just rough. You know, it's not supposed to be perfect. I just kind of threw it in here for the sake of, you know, for it to have some detail. So this isn't one of my more detailed builds, you know, as far as the interior goes. And then you have like a weird spa car, like it'd be steamy and hot in here. You'd go in here and, you know, soak up some steam. And all that stuff. So a majority of the cars are, somewhat film accurate. But the only issue is, since the train is said to have 1001 cars long, where we don't get to see the inside of each individual one. There's only a select few you see in the movie, so I'm just rebuilding the ones that I saw, or that you do see in the movie, and just try to replicate them, cheaply, almost half-assed. So I didn't dedicate as much perfection into this build as I do most of my other stuff. And then here you have probably one of the most interesting cars on the train is the pull car. So yeah, having a pool on a train. I'm trying to say pool, but I'm just like making it sound weird. So yeah, there was like a pull section in the train. Of course, it also had the, distinctive, S pattern, like S curving walkway. It has like a pull on one side, a pull on the other, and then like a hot tub in one corner. I mean, it's very small and very compact. So that's why I'm thinking about going as far as to, making a second model of it only bigger, just to, fit more in it. Because, as far as scale goes, like as I mentioned before, we don't really know how big the train really was, in the form of like height and width, but we do know that it was really, 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 really long. So as after the pull car, then you just get a bunch of the empty cars. So this is going to be more along the lines of a shorter video, but I built it and I figured it would be kind of something interesting to, show you guys. I mean, I guess I always think that I'm probably showing off more than I think I actually am, because some people would even go as far as to say I'm probably rubbing it in their face, but like what is it? There's a certain Minecraft YouTuber, I don't know if he's still around, but Corrales? You might have heard of him, you might not have. If you haven't heard of him, look him up. His name is spelled Keralis, I think. But yeah, he's got a whole series of Minecraft, and there's a certain series he has called the Inspiration series. So I like to think of me, doing what I do, just kind of showing off some things that I built, with YouTube. Rather than just showing off, I like to say that I'm handing out inspiration, if you will. I mean, you can see through it any way you want, but honestly, like with for this train, for example, I've even looked up myself, seeing if anybody else has attempted at building the Snowpiercer train in Minecraft, after seeing the movie. And so far, it doesn't look like anybody's, built the train, or, even have even on PC, like on the Minecraft community forums and stuff like that, there's like nobody that's built the train as far as I know. So I just kind of took it upon myself, I had an idea, and I looked up some images, and I tried to replicate it as best I could, and since I'm on PS4, I can't really, upload it to like a website and other people can download it. But I mean, I have had the idea of, if you've stuck around in the video and you're still watching this up to this point, if you're like really interested in the things I do and the things I show to you, I do have the idea of creating a community. But I'm not entirely sure if I want to do it yet, so if you would like me to start up a community and then you can join and we can all, all my subscribers and anyone else who comes across these videos, if you'd like to, join me in a community and we build stuff, work together, make a city and all that crap, just, let me know down in the comments, because I guess you can say the more people that respond, the more people that respond and say that they want to do this or want me to create a community, then the more inclined I'll be to making one, because I'm not entirely sure if I want to yet. So just a little, fun fact. So with all that set aside, that pretty much is all I'm going to be doing in this video, is just kind of showing you this train. So, I mean, if you've seen the movie and you know what the train looks like, do you think I did a good job? I mean, it's rough around the edges and it's not entirely perfect, but it's pretty damn close as far as what you can see in the movie. I'm satisfied with it, even for being kind of like a cheap build, at least on the lower end of my scale of building things in Minecraft. So, this is pretty much it. The Snowpiercer train. And if you haven't seen the movie, I would highly recommend you go see it. It had a lot of good like reviews and responses, and there's even a really, really deep double meaning to like the plot of the movie. I ain't gonna go into too much detail as to what it is, so I'm gonna leave it to you to, grab the movie, watch it, and learn for yourself. So, yeah, this is my attempt at building the Snowpiercer train, and that's pretty much all I've got to show you this time around. I know it's like very long in between me releasing videos, but you know, I'm not a professional YouTuber and I don't plan on making it a career, so I just kind of do this stuff as it comes around, you know. I just use YouTube as like a way of, you know, sharing some of the things I do. So I've been rambling on for too damn much, so without further ado, you take care and have a nice day, and I'll see you whenever.